love you.
He's staring at you.
Oh, I love. He wants a nipple. He's doing his mouth like this. No, right now, baby, we gotta make a video. You gotta wait, okay? Just one moment. I'll be quick. Okay. So, for those of you who follow us on social media, Snapchat or Instagram, you more than likely saw, unless you missed the story, because I didn't post a picture about it. I just posted about it on our story, about what happened. It was 5 days ago, earlier this week on Monday. It's Friday. With Roman, we experienced the worst day of our lives, I would say. The worst scare by far, and everything was just absolutely terrifying. And before I get to telling you guys really what happened, I just want to thank everybody who, first of all, reached out and also prayed for Roman, sent out love, positive vibes, and because we really needed it. We really, really needed it in that time. And my mind frame, when I just pretty much was pleading for prayers for him. He does, huh? Yeah. You think we should pause it and then come back, or what do we do? We're not gonna be able to go on, huh?
Huh?
We're not gonna be able to film because he wants the nipple.
Your mom's gonna come pick him up right now, so.
No, but I I have to nurse him for a little bit before she takes him. Cause look at him.
Yeah, hurry up.
All right.
You wanna nurse him in front of the camera?
Oh my baby. Come on. Okay, we're back, and the background sound that you hear is Roman in his swing, so that's what you guys are hearing right now. And it's bugging Martin. He's like, where are we gonna film? I'm like, Martin, like, we're parents to two now. Like, if we couldn't expect perfection before, we definitely can't now. Like, that's our background music right now, so. Anyways, I don't even really know where I left off, but pretty much our reason for doing this video, which makes me really sad that, you know, this is our first video after his hospital videos, instead of, we had a really cute one that we wanted to post up, which we'll post up tomorrow, which was, you know, when he went to go take his newborn pictures, and that it was so freaking cute. So the behind the scenes of that. But anyways, it's sad that we have to post this one up, but I really wanted to thank those of you who saw our story on Instagram and Snapchat and sent out prayers and love and positive thoughts over Roman, because we really, really needed it. It was just the scariest day ever, and I felt so helpless, and I think that's the worst feeling a parent can feel, and I know you felt the same, you know, just helpless. But going into the story, since those of you who don't have, you know, other social media platforms don't know what we're speaking on right now, so pretty much on Monday, 5 days ago, Roman, it's really hard for me to speak on, you know, in detail some of the things that happened, but I'm gonna do my best. I'm going through some PTSD. I just get like flashbacks, and it kind of like sets me off. So it is hard to speak on, but I'm just gonna do my best, okay? So 5 days ago, me and Roman were in the house. Martin went to go drop off Mason at school, and Roman fell onto the tire on my watch. It was just me and him. I turned around for like a minute or two, and it happened. I'm having like a really difficult time forgiving myself for that. I feel like the worst mom ever. I really do. So I really feel like the worst mom ever, but I talked to my sister, Unique, and she kind of helped uplift me, you know. And I'm trying to understand that I need to forgive myself, because God loves me just as I am, imperfect, and I'm human, you know. I shouldn't have turned my back on him, because every parent knows anything can happen in a matter of seconds. But honestly, I really had to go poop. And I told myself, wait, seriously, we don't leave him alone ever. And I was like, wait, seriously, I told myself, I was standing right there, I was like, just wait, Martin will be here soon. And I couldn't. Like, I feel, I couldn't wait. I seriously had to go to the bathroom. I was like, I'm gonna make this so fast. Like, it was like a minute and a half, 2 minutes at most.
And sometimes I feel like you really can't, you know, you don't think the worst. You're just like,
You don't.
Obviously
not.
You want to
Obviously
wait for me because we never leave Roman alone. Whether it's me watching him, so they're watching him.
Obviously not. I mean, obviously I don't leave him there thinking, oh, he's gonna fall. And I set him up in a way where he wouldn't fall. Like, with his boppy on him, I rolled up a blanket underneath his feet. I was like, he's 2 months, he's not rolling over yet. There's no way he's going anywhere. Like, I really thought he was safe.
And then, like, I was like, what, 45 seconds, a minute, I dropped off Mason.
Yeah.
It was Monday, I go to work late, so on Mondays I drop off Mason every single morning. And I got the worst call ever. Suzette calls me and I'm always scared. Every single time I get a call from Suzette when I'm not at home, I always get
Usually
like,
it's for nonsense.
It's always work, yeah. Most of the time it's like, especially if I'm at work, like that's kind of where it annoys me because I tell Suzette only call me for emergencies. But
this time,
you know, I didn't really think too much of it because obviously I wasn't at work. I was on the way back. Maybe Suzette was gonna ask me like, "Are you on your way back? Are you okay? Like you took a long time or something like that." But all I can hear is Suzette yelling like, "The baby fell," and I'm like, "What?"
I told him the baby fell. We have to go to the hospital.
And I was just like, that's my heart dropped. I was just like,
you were like, let's go. That's what you said. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm almost there. I hung up and I'm just like thinking to myself like F. I was like F. That's all I can think of is F. Like a baby falling. He's 2 months old. I'm just thinking like, that's it. F. Like.
But you didn't think the worst was about to happen, did you?
No.
But I thought of that possibility, but I still didn't think that the worst was.
I never thought the worst something horrible
was about to happen.
It was about to happen. I get home. I run from the car. I park the car. I run in. Suzette still has like
my pants to my ankles,
like to her like knees, and you're just like, I can't even put on my pants. I'm just so worried.
Well, I was holding him.
I know you're like holding him, and he's just crying and crying and crying. So I grab him. I was like, Suzette, let's go to the hospital. Yeah. Like, and honestly, I'm not the type of person that takes their kids to the hospital for any little thing.
Yeah, because if you know Martin at all, you know he's just a calm person. You know, he handles things very well.
I'm always positive.
Optimistic.
Yeah, that's the word. Optimistic about everything. Mason has a cough, like everybody is saying.
And I'm not when it comes to my kids. I'm like,
he's got
thinking the worst.
This or he's got this. Pneumonia or bronchitis, like
well, not to that extremity. That's my mom.
Not you, yeah. It's not you, but everybody around us, and I'm just like, okay, let's just wait it out. Everything's good, but no. Right when I got home, I didn't even think twice. We didn't even ask like, should we go? No, it was just
let's go.
I grab him. I was like, let's go to the hospital. Grab his diaper bag, and we're off.
Yeah. So we got in the car. I was like a nervous wreck. I was like shaking the whole time. I don't remember crying, but I do know that
you
I
were
was
worried.
Yeah, like I was not functional.
I got to the car before Suzette because I told Suzette, grab the diaper bag, let's go. I basically speed walk Roman to the car, and then I was about to put him in his little like car seat, but I was like, no, he just fell. I don't know if he's injured, what's wrong with him. So I'm just gonna have Suzette carry him in the back seat. So let's wait for Suzette, and like pretty soon after I see Suzette with with the diaper bag,
just
running. Like I've never seen Suzette so worried.
Well, thanks. I've never seen Suzette run that fast because you said that to me.
It's true. Suzette was booking it. It was like she had the diaper bag here. I don't even know if she had something on. She's just like, and her face was just like serious, like worried. I'll tell you right now, I wasn't really. Obviously, I'm worried, but my little brother he fell. Like
and he always tells me the story of his brother David falling. I swear, you've told me that story like 3 times.
Yeah. And I told you recently.
You told me like recently before this happened. Yeah.
And I've always heard, did you get dropped on your head? Like people make jokes about it. He fell. I'm kind of thinking like, make sure
it happens.
His head's okay. We don't know. We didn't even stop to revise because it's just.
When David fell?
No, I'm talking about Roman. Like, I didn't like. Obviously, as I'm waiting for Suzette, I'm kind of like trying to look for something, but I just wanted to get him to the hospital. My intent to get him to the hospital, because he didn't seem like he broke anything. He was crying a lot.
He
was basically just to make sure he's like.
He was okay.
Yeah. It wasn't because he was bleeding. It wasn't.
Yeah,
like, his arm
bumps,
was hanging.
But
we didn't really see any bumps right away. But it was just like, he's 2 months old. He fell on tile. Let's get him checked out. Suzette gets there. I was like, Suzette, get in the back. She's like, okay. You're in the back seat, right?
You pass him to me.
The baby. And I just start driving. I start basically trying to get to the hospital as soon as possible. The hospital's probably 15 minutes away.
It's like
max.
18 minutes away. I've timed it because I timed it when that's where I had Roman at the hospital. I gave birth at, and I timed it. Yeah. It's like 18 minutes away from our house. Which is a long time to. I mean, it seems virtually short, but when you're going through something like that, it seems so much longer.
But when you're going through something like that too, calling the ambulance and just kind of playing that waiting game.
Oh yeah, it's like 5 minutes feels like half an hour.
Yeah, you never know how long an ambulance is gonna take.
Yeah, because they came from my dad.
Again, it wasn't like.
They took forever.
He wasn't bleeding. He wasn't like having a seizure. He wasn't. Nothing. He was just crying. So obviously, like I said, we took him to the hospital.
We were freaked. We were freaked out at this point, but obviously Martin, being the calm and passive person he is, he was still keeping us cool up to this point. I was paranoid. I mean, that's pretty normal for me. And I
honestly, Suzette was like, when I saw her running and her face was worried, I thought to myself, I was like, but I didn't say it. But I was thinking to myself, like Suzette, like just calm down, like he's fine. That's what I thought.
That's a very Martin thought, definitely.
Like he's fine, like just calm down.
But you knew better than to say it to me that way.
Exactly, we're doing what we can do. We're getting him to the hospital, but everything just happened so fast.
So we're on the way to the hospital, right? Mm-hmm. And Martin's driving. And we're about not even halfway there, I would say, because I was trying not to scare you because I just wanted you to drive. Mm-hmm. And we're not even halfway there.
We're like 7 minutes into it. We're about to hit the freeway almost.
Yeah, about 7-8 minutes into the drive, and I could just see the change in him, in his demeanor, in
But the whole time he was in the back, he was just crying.
He was crying. Yeah. And like he wanted to kind of sort of stop crying, but he wasn't yet when I told you to hurry. But I could still see the physical change slowly happening in him, in his body, in his being, in his everything. And so I told Martin, I was like, Martin, hurry. You need to be at the hospital right now. And I think you were driving the speed limit, were you? Or did it feel like it to me?
It probably felt like I was driving as fast as I could. It's the streets, and you're trying to get to the freeway. So, like, the closer you get to that freeway, like Southern, everything just starts slowing down. You're kind of bumper to bumper. And I saw Suzette starting to panic. Like, at first she was worried, and I was like looking through the rearview mirror, and I started to see her face like panic, and Suzette's just saying like, get to the hospital. Like, we need to be at the hospital. And I'm thinking to myself, like, obviously, we're not there. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you want us to do? Just, like, fly? Like, that's kind of the feel that I got from Suzette. Like, and she started kind of, like, looking, like, for some reason I thought she was going to try to run out of the car, because that's just what she was thinking. She would get to the hospital running faster than what we were driving. And she just
That's crazy. So I was like looking at the door about to open it.
Yeah, we're not at the hospital yet. Like, we should be at the hospital right now, and I should be walking out this door. Yeah. And since we're not at the hospital yet, like, I'm gonna get us there faster, which is impossible.
But that was the irrational thought.
But then, like, Suzette locks eyes with me and just says, like Martin, get there. And that's when I was like,
call 911.
Like, what do you mean? Like, is he okay? Because the whole time my mentality is calm, optimistic. We're going to the hospital as fast as we can so he can get checked, and I'm trying to get him there as fast as we can. But Suzette's like eyes turned where like something is happening to him. So I'm just asking, like, Suzette, what do you mean? Like, and she just continues telling me, just get there, just get there. I'm trying.
I want him to obviously get there, drive
I'm just
safe.
Like, I'm trying. Like, I'm doing everything I could.
And then we entered the freeway, and that's when we got to the freeway, and I was like, Martin, because like from at that point he
then I heard him stop crying.
Yeah, he like immediately just all of a sudden stopped crying.
And because I'm trying to drive as fast as I can, I'm kind of looking back because he stopped crying, and I thought for a second, I don't know if you were trying to do this, but I thought for a second Suzette had him down here to like breastfeed him or something.
I was trying to breastfeed him.
To calm him down?
Yeah, no, it was not working. Yeah, no.
So like, and I know when he starts breastfeeding, as you can tell, he just breastfed right now. He was antsy now. Yeah, he's asleep. He starts falling asleep, so then it clicked on me. You never even got to breastfeed him, right? Or
no, he didn't want to.
Then it clicked on me like, no, Suzette, keep him awake, you know?
I don't remember you saying that.
No?
But I know because when we were talking inside here, like you had mentioned that you said like I was telling her to keep it awake, but I don't remember hearing that. But at that point, I feel like I'm avoiding getting into the worst part. Like I don't want to speak about it because it's just hard. I don't want to cry. I just want to like talk about it.
Exactly. And me and Suzette have made it a point, and for a while, honestly, I didn't want to talk about it on camera or put it up, or
you didn't want to.
I didn't, and we've tried to talk about it and before, and it's just like we don't want to get into the details.
Yeah, it's really hard to get into the details because it's just reliving like the worst thing. Thank you. Here, I'm gonna hold it. Come with your mom, mama's boy, mama's boy.
He's awake.
Okay. So let's just get to it. The best.
So he was crying like loud.
Possibly can.
And then,
then he stops. I can feel him avoiding trying to like just say it, but
why did he stop?
We got on the freeway. He immediately stopped crying. Just suddenly, not immediately. He suddenly stopped crying, and he turned pale. He turned blue. He started swelling, and his body immediately became lifeless. He stopped breathing. That's the main thing. Like he stopped breathing, and his body started swelling, and I told at that point, like I thought that was it, and I told Martin, I was like, yeah, Martin, and I held him up so for Martin to see. I was like, Martin, like he's leaving, you know, his eyes were rolling back. And they were like sinking in, and I was just like, holy crap, like we're losing our baby, like like we're not gonna have him anymore, you know, like that was really, I was like, to me he was gone. He was gone.
And I'm like an optimistic person, and through anything that we're going
and I
through,
knew that
like,
I knew that he was gonna, you know, try and be comforting, like beating Martin. So that's why I held him up for him to see, like, Martin, like, look, you know, for you to like get it, like. And I guess Martin said that at that point I was saying like, don't hate me, like, God, please save my baby, and I don't remember what I was saying, to be honest.
Well, obviously that's what you were going through. When I heard him stop crying, I told you, obviously you didn't hear me, but I was like, don't let him go to sleep. Because I started seeing your
Very
panic,
little was
like,
processing.
and I was like, so
don't
let him go to sleep. He can't go to sleep. And you're just like, Roman. And he just obviously, like you said, he was
lifeless, yeah.
starting to not breathe. And then you start saying he's not breathing. And I'm like, yelling at Suzette, don't let him sleep.
Right, we keep repeating ourselves. We have to like just get through it, get to it, and get through it. Pretty much.
I know, but I'm kind of telling like what I was thinking at the same time.
Okay.
So next thing is like Suzette starts freaking out and just starts saying he's leaving. And I'm telling Suzette no, and Suzette's like he's not breathing. He's swelling up.
Yeah, he was swelling up. His skin was
that's kind of when I lost it. I was just like,
yeah, he lost it because I remember. Yeah,
and
he started
like
screaming
3 times, and I was like, damn it, like this cannot be happening.
Yeah.
And then that's when when I yelled no, Suzette starts yelling like, don't hate me, please don't hate me. She also starts yelling, God, please bring him back. I will change my life. I will change my life. I will change everything. Whatever you want from me, just bring him back. And I'm still like he's not gone. I'm thinking to myself. And then Suzette basically like,
I start doing CPR.
No, hold on. So Suzette shows him like, Suzette, Martin, he's gone. And she shows him to me. And like, as I look, I'm driving like fast. I'm on the freeway by this time. I look back and his eyes are just like peacefully trying to like leave this earth, and he's just like, and that's when it hit me. That's the first time, and I thought it for, I don't know, a second. We lost our son. Honestly,
You thought he was gone at that point.
Yeah, I believed it. I believed he was gone, and I was just thinking. I was like, how can this happen? I'm just thinking like, no, please, no, I this can't happen. I'm still driving. And I was like, hold on, Suzette, I'm almost there. And Suzette, she quit. She's just like, he's gone. Like, call 911.
Granted, like, I feel like you're talking so passively and calmly, but we were like yelling and freaking out and crying. You know, like,
obviously we're not gonna yell in here, but it happened
chaos.
so fast.
It was chaos.
Suzette's yelling. I'm basically pleading for him not to go, for him not to be gone, for him not to basically
leave us.
And I can't, like, Suzette, I can't imagine what Suzette went through in those moments. Like, I was in the front, I wasn't directly with Roman, but, like, and I still say it, like, it must have been the worst thing ever.
Yeah,
having your child in your arms, just.
Yeah, no.
Leaving. Obviously,
no parent should ever have to see that. But, anyways, somewhere in between Martin's story, I came to my senses because, like Martin said, at one point I was like, he's gone.
Well, yeah, that's where I left off. I'm calling 911.
Okay, you're calling 911.
And that's when you basically started asking me.
No, I was like, I'm gonna do CPR. Mm-hmm. So I opened his mouth and started doing CPR. I worked at a pharmaceutical research clinic and we did get CPR training, but I didn't remember to a T how to do CPR. But from what I did remember, you know, the chest compressions with 2 fingers and breathing in his mouth. I started doing CPR. I'm no expert, but as soon as I did it, he immediately started crying. His swelling went immediately down. His color came back immediately. And at that point, Martin was like, yes, you know.
That's when I got, right when 2 seconds, I basically was accepting that I'm never going to see him again alive, is when, like, Suzette started doing CPR and I heard the crying. I was on the phone with it was a guy on 911. I wasn't even making sense to the guy. I'm just telling them, like,
they were telling you to pull over, remember?
Yeah. Well, pull over. The guy answers and I'm like, I'm on the freeway. I'm going to the hospital. Just be ready for us, basically. That's what I wanted, because we've been to, like, ERs before. Like, I've been to an ER where obviously it's not an emergency.
Oh yeah.
But
yeah.
And it's just
they
like
make you
very
wait.
slow pace. You gotta sign in.
What's going on?
Exactly. Yeah. So like, I was telling them,
our baby's passing away.
Exactly. Our baby's passing away. And then they start hearing the crying at the same time that I start hearing the crying, which gave me like hope at that point.
And I kept asking you to ask that member. I was like, Martin, tell him, what do I do? What do I do? Do I keep doing CPR? Like, what do I do? Like, I wanted them to give me some kind of, like, healing answer. Like, do this and he'll be fine.
But what they wanted is, I told them, I was like, what do I do? What do I do? And then he brings on, like, I think, like, a medical expert. And she's like, where are you at? Asking me questions. I'm answering them. I was like, what do I do right now? She's like, pull over if you want medical attention. I was like, no, I'm like 2 minutes away. And she's like, and she's asking me who's crying. Is it him? If he's crying, he's fine. I'm telling Suzette he's crying. They're saying he's fine, and Suzette's saying okay. But every time I stop breathing into his mouth,
he becomes lifeless. He starts like drifting
going away.
And we get there finally. And Martin, you know, at that point, Martin, I know he said now, he's like, if a cop were to stop me, I was going to drag that cop all the way to the hospital, like, regardless of what happened.
I was thinking that because I was going, like, easily 85 miles an hour.
I feel like that's not fast enough. Why were you not going 200?
Because it was early. Everybody, Suzette, I was going.
I know.
Plus, it was like super close.
I feel like I just wanted to fly though. You know, you did too. I'm sure. Just fly, just be there. But we got there. And we didn't know where to go. And that made me realize, like, there's some things that we need to do. Like, I think the nearest hospital, which is that one, we should know where every single exit and entrance is at to what. You know. But anyways, we got there. We pulled up to some entrance that wasn't the emergency room entrance.
Well, I'm on the phone with them, and they're like, make sure you go to the children something emergency.
Children emergency area?
But they didn't, so they made it seem like it was a lot farther than it actually is. Like right when you drive in, it says emergency. They made me feel like that wasn't it, so I kind of like drove around. But I feel like if we would have gone through the emergency side, I'm telling you, like, this hospital is, like, all blocked off. You walk in emergency, it's all blocked off. There was, like, at one point, I'll get to the story, but in that emergency entrance, there was, like, 20 people there. But anyway, so we finally get to a entrance, and it's the children's hospital side. I told Suzette, like, just go, just run. So you started running in, right?
Yeah, and I was still doing CPR while I was running.
Suzette was running, and she just.
Yeah, I run in there, and there's other people out in the waiting room. It wasn't the emergency area, but there was like a family there.
And then Suzette runs out, and then I run out right after her.
So we left all the doors open,
so
car on.
My car door is open, her car door is open, car's on, but at that point we didn't even care. We ran out, I caught up to Suzette, and there was like people waiting there, and everybody was just staring at us. And Suzette, what did you ask?
I was like, they were just staring at us, and I was like, my baby's dying, where's the emergency room? And they were just staring. I'm not even kidding.
Because they're visitors.
I know. I know. And they're in shock, you know, like somebody you don't witness something like that all the time. And they were just staring at me, and I had to repeat myself. I was like, where's the emergency room? And finally the lady, I think she was the wife, she points out, she's like, go down that way, go turn left. I guess you were behind me, and I started running, and I guess I almost fell. Did you see my knees almost give out?
Yeah.
I almost fell. And finally we saw one of the workers coming through the other hallway, and I said the same thing, my baby's dying, we need to get to the emergency room. Where's the emergency room? She runs, her card isn't working to get us into the emergency area. So then somebody through the other door,
and I was thinking, I was like, come on,
oh my baby,
at this, you want me to hold him real quick?
Yeah, you want to hold him?
Yeah.
Here, let me just make sure you pull down his
Hold on.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, Jimmy, big boy, get here. But you gotta remember this whole time while we're running through like the hallways, I don't know what you were thinking, but I'm thinking he's slowly passing away.
Yeah. I was like we need it.
So that's running. He's got him like this, right?
Yeah.
And then so they would run, and then every 5 seconds
I would talk and like run and so it was just chaos.
And then we ran into that lady. The lady's like, there's like a restricted door to go to where we needed to go.
Yeah.
Then she starts sliding her
card. She's like, my
it's
card's
not
not working. She's freaking out.
And I was like,
my card isn't
oh
working.
my god.
Yeah. We're back. So we've had to, taken a couple tries to make this video just because of Ro. But my mom actually just got here, so she's like, I'm going to watch them for a little bit, let you guys finish your video. So we are going to finish this up. We left off at the lady.
Swiping.
She was she an employee? Wait, she also had to be an employee there. Yeah, she
was a nurse or something. I don't know.
Well, the nurse, she was swiping her badge to get into the ER, and it wasn't working. She's like, it's not working. She sees somebody walking down through the hallway inside the ER.
Hospital, window doors or the little slits or whatever.
That we needed to get in through. And she's like, open up, it's an emergency, the baby's dying, So I hate saying that, but
I know, I don't like
it's so rough. Like all this, it was hard, but we're gonna speak about it because it's her truth, and it's something serious that happened in our lives, and it's something that I let you guys in to our world. It's something that I let you guys into through Instagram and Snapchat, and you guys were there for us. So it's only right that we, thank you guys and tell you guys, in detail what happened. So anyways, am I getting sick? Because I kind of feel like I'm getting sick, and I've been trying to avoid it all day,
probably.
the
it's always my
acceptance
fault
of it.
too.
But yeah, anyways, I can hear my voice. I feel like I'm getting sick. But anyways, the guy, first he was walking, you could tell.
There was two guys, I feel like, you're in the hospital and those doors are locked for a reason, and they see me and Suzette, and then they just hear someone banging.
Yeah, first they saw us, so they're like,
just
wait,
kind of
what are
walking,
you doing?
walking towards it, and then I think they saw kind of the nurse or something, and she's yelling my badge isn't working, open up. And then they start running towards it, and they finally open it.
Yeah. Gosh, man, it's just so crazy the way it all happened. The fact that her badge wasn't working, the fact that they were
it's straight out of a movie.
It is. It's something that you would.
And I was thinking to myself, great, we have to wait. Every second counts, and we have to wait another 5 seconds, 10 seconds. I'm thinking to myself, this is it.
Each second that passes is
this is the reason why.
Yeah. Each second that passed was just another second that we couldn't afford to not have him, with the doctors in there. But I hate saying it too. But anyways, so finally he rushes, he opens the door. We go in, and then they tell us there were two other nurses at the door. They're like, oh, you guys need to go out that way. Mm-hmm. The doctors are in the surgery room, waiting, Well, they didn't even say that. Huh?
No.
What did they say then? Somehow, how did we get redirected over there then? Because I don't even know.
Yeah, so that's just focusing on.
What did they say? They were like, go that way.
So we're asking them, where's the emergency?
Because there were two nurses by the door, right?
No. So we asked the guys, and both of the guys point towards the end of the hallway. So still we have to run like far. I'm basically making sure Suzette does it. As Suzette's running, I'm making sure, like, I'm kind of like this the whole time to make sure she doesn't kind of like fall over, tip, like pass out, just because she almost did before while we were running through the hallway. So we're running all the way to the end, and then we passed this little like doorway, and the ladies were kind of asking like, is it over here, like emergency? And obviously the lady sees the baby here, and one of the ladies from kind of inside the little doorway calls us in, no, this way, come in here. And right when we went through that doorway, like the best freaking hospital ever, because there was some guy comes in, and then you got a nurse coming in, and somehow they alerted this doctor that was like right next door to the little room they took him into. So within like 10 seconds,
the whole staff,
he had a whole squad right there.
Martin felt like immediate relief once he was in that room. I honestly didn't. I was still shaking. I was still paranoid. I just was still thinking the worst. That's just kind of how it is for me when it comes to my kids.
Me, obviously I wasn't relieved, and I'm not going to sit here and say like it was over, he's good.
Yeah.
But I was relieved because he was in the hands of professionals. Yeah. We didn't have to like leave it up for Suzette or him stop breathing in Suzette's arms. Yeah. Then what do we do? CPR's not working. Like, I knew he was in the best hands. If he stopped breathing, they can do whatever they want or they need to do with him. Yeah.
At that point, I was still a wreck. I was, not at all.
Oh yeah, they're asking those questions. What happened? What happened? We're like kind of tumbling over our words. We're not really making sense.
I was just.
The doctor straight up told you, like, pulled you aside and asked you directly.
Well, the chaplain came. The chaplain was actually nearby, which was God sent. She said she was just right about to leave before we got there, and she heard us, and she came, and she brought me out with the doctor. She said, okay, just step out for a moment. And they sat me down on a chair because obviously I couldn't speak, I couldn't think, I was just out of it. And they
by then, Roman was just
on the bed,
surrounded by
the nurses,
all these
the doctors,
doctors, assistants.
Yeah, and I don't know what they were doing. I don't know if they were continuing to do CPR. I don't know what they were doing, honestly.
But before you sat down, because I saw you, the next thing is making sure that Suzette's okay, and she's white, and she's in shock.
I'm paler shaking than I naturally am.
So I go and grab her, and Suzette's kind of the chaplain's talking to us, and I have kind of Suzette right here, and her face is not facing Roman.
I didn't even want to look. I had my face dug into Martin's chest, just crying my eyes out.
And obviously Roman's crying, and then he stops crying, and Suzette asks me, "Do you remember that?"
No, I didn't.
What happened to him? He stopped crying. I was like, he's fine. He stopped crying because they wanted him to stop crying, or it was a good thing that he stopped crying, because everybody kind of started kind of not clapping, but hey, he's a baby in there, so they still gotta treat him and say little baby.
Well, naturally it's a baby, so naturally they just love just overflows.
That gave me a good. Oh, he's fine, so he's fine. They wanted him to stop crying, basically, or it's good for him to stop crying, or something. It was positive. It wasn't a negative thing that he stopped crying. Right after that, though, they basically pulled me aside, you gotta move your car. So I had to leave for 10 minutes after that. Yeah,
and then they sat me down. I don't know. I didn't want to look. I don't know. I just didn't want to see. I was just I didn't want to know. I didn't want to know what could have been. And so they sat me down, the chaplain, the doctor, they started talking to me. And it felt like a while before Martin came back. And actually, he didn't come back at all while we were there. They finally ended up moving me to another room. And they're like, we'll bring in the baby, and then we'll tell your husband to go into that room once he comes back.
Make sure it's charged. Oh, no, you're good.
It is?
Hold on.
Because it stops recording.
Yeah.
they moved me and they're like, we'll direct him where to go once he gets here. We'll take the baby once we're done here. Obviously, they, started doing all the testing on him. They did every single test possible. MRI, spinal tap, brain. What did they do?
CT.
The CT scan.
But by that time, I was already back. So like they moved you guys over to the room that we're gonna be in. I moved the car. I went to the real children's emergency room, and like I was telling you at the beginning, it was a whole line. There was like 20 people in there. Again, like if we would have ran through there, I don't know how we would. I don't know if we would have gotten the attention right away that we were supposed to.
I don't think we would have. If we would have gone through the actual ER entrance.
There's like a big old desk, and then there's an entrance on this side.
We would have had to sign in and all that. Process.
I hope not. That's the thing. I don't understand why emergency entrances are so complicated.
Yeah.
But anyways, they wouldn't even let me back into the back.
That's why you took a
I'm
while.
just like talking to the little front desk lady. I was like, hey, I'm already in. I had to move the car, explaining my situation. They're like, oh, we gotta ask this person, ask this person, ask this person. And I'm waiting 5 minutes, and finally a lady that saw me back there recognized me, and she came and pulled my arm and was like, oh, come in, they're over here, I'll show you. So then I'm in the room with you guys.
Okay, so we're in there. At this point, they had already started the testing, I would assume so, right? Or not so much so. I don't know, honestly. I really don't know because I didn't want to know. So I don't know.
When I walked in, Roman was, it's funny, because obviously you got this big bed, the hospital beds, and then little Roman's body is just like.
I took a video of this. By this point, he was already stable. When they brought him back, he was completely stable and like wholesome again.
Like nothing.
Like nothing happened. Like he was like smiling, and I was just like, At that point, he was completely normal again.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they revived him. I don't know if they gave him I don't know what, but they got him obviously back to.
By the time he was in the room,
he was completely normal. He was even laughing and smiling and cool. I was still a wreck at that point. Martin saw his son back to normal, so he was fine again. Mm-hmm. And
I'm just relieved again, like the fact that we got in the hospital after we just went through the worst moments of our lives. I thought he was gone. I thought I was gonna be a father who lost a child. Suzette was a wreck, basically. Like she was saying, she was yelling like, "Don't hate me, don't hate me," because obviously Suzette had a lot of guilt in that.
I wasn't saying it to you because
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I was saying it to myself because I was like so mad at myself.
Yeah, you had guilt, but you were telling me like, "Don't hate me," because you didn't want me to hate you because you felt guilty because it was your fault. That's kind of how
I know that more so I was like upset at myself more than any other thought. I was like, I hate myself, more than anything. But anyways.
And I told Suzette, even after, I was like, dude, it could have happened to anyone. It could happen to anyone. Like, it just happened to be where you were watching them, split second, just the baby fell. Let's
go back to. So once you were in the room, they started the testing. Because that's when you fainted.
You're gonna go into that already? I know, I remember everything.
I don't. And that's why I'm kind of a mess when I, try and explain to you guys exactly what happened. And I'm, here and there because I don't remember really anything, at least to what occurrence, it happened. And I don't. Remember everything. The chaplain was in there trying to calm me down the entire time. Mm-hmm. I couldn't have gotten through that moment without her personally. She was an angel because I couldn't. I was, a nervous wreck the entire time. You would look into my eyes and I was just not there, I was dead if you looked into my eyes, Even when he was already calm and smiling and cool, I still was not okay. I wasn't okay. So anyways, you can pick up wherever you want.
Okay. Well, we're in the room, and then all the nurses and the little, I guess, medical assistants and stuff walk in. Oh, we're gonna run these tests, make sure he's okay. So they start. They need a urine test. They need, I don't know.
ECG, spinal tap, everything.
CT, MRI.
CT scan,
No,
MRI.
I don't think it was an MRI. X-rays.
No, I think it was an MRI.
That's what they told us. MRI is more, I think, is for like the body, like the ligaments and stuff. CT is for the head, because they want to make sure his head.
But they wanted to check his bones too. I'm pretty sure they
X-ray.
did. Yeah.
X-ray.
Okay.
So anyway, so like the first two tests, they were doing the catheter.
Oh my gosh.
And I guess by that time I've kind of like calmed down. I see he's good. He's breathing without any assistance, no machine, no nothing.
It's just funny that we're back on the phone now. We're trying our best to get through this video, but my mom's outside taking care of the baby now. It's been years.
Camera died.
Since she's taking care of a baby, so she needs our help all the time. She's like,
Mm-hmm.
is he okay? He needs this. And the camera just died too, but we thought the video
we gotta get done quick, so we can't.
So yeah, so we're gonna try and
get
it done. I mean, the whole point of this video was to just, you guys are always there for us, and to thank you guys, you know, for being there for us and through the hardest time in our lives. And we owe it to you guys to explain to you, you know, exactly what happened. So anyways, where were we at, babe, before the camera died?
The testing. So the testing you got done. Well, the testing that's kind of like important to the story, I guess, that we want to kind of go into detail about, was he was getting a catheter, which I've never seen done on a baby.
I don't know why you were watching. I wasn't watching anything. I don't know how Martin could like bring himself to like watch, but he was watching. Like he was literally watching them, and I had my face dug into Martin's chest,
my chest,
crying.
But I was watching because I don't know. I just wanted to make sure that he was okay.
Yeah, I know.
Honestly, I just wanted to make sure that I was there for him.
But it's like I know.
Suzette always has a hard time with like seeing either Mason or Roman crying or in pain, whether it's shots, whether obviously it's this situation where they're doing a catheter. I really don't know if it was me watching him get a catheter, but or the adrenaline just running out and just my body being exhausted.
Processing.
Not just that day, but we've been taking care of a newborn.
Yeah.
And you guys know
it's exhausting as it is.
It's exhausting. You don't get enough sleep. You don't have any energy. And for us not having already not too much energy, waking up early, waking up during the night, we have not slept longer than 3 or 4 hours at a time in
2 months.
2 months, easy, 2.5 months. So like, for me to go all the way up with adrenaline and scared and fear and then kind of try to be there strong for Suzette too, and Suzette's like on me and like everything's starting to kind of go down, and I can actually like relax a little bit. Obviously he's going through pain because they're doing, you know, medical things. I start kind of like getting like lightheaded. I start like, whoa. And I know myself. I've almost gotten like heat stroke before and stuff. So I know myself. Once it starts, there's no stopping it. So like after a while, I had to like, and sometimes
step out. I
don't like to sit there and say like, oh, I'm hurting or something's happening to me. I'm holding it because I got the long arm. Like,
that's true.
Something's happening to me, but I was like, okay, can we step out? And the nurses, of course, are saying, they say, yeah, go ahead.
The nurses were
we'll wait
so
for
great
you. Wait for us outside, or maybe they're thinking that we didn't really want to watch because it was intense. Intense what they were doing. Yeah. It's a catheter on a baby.
Okay.
And the thing that sucked is like he just peed, I guess. So like they were like fishing for
Okay. I just can't. It's really hard for me.
I know, and it was tough to watch.
Okay.
And maybe it was that.
I can't, dude. I can't. It's really hard.
Maybe it was just that, but so we were walking out, and I'm like falling, like Suzette's in front of me, and I got my arms around her, and I tell Suzette so that I'm gonna freaking pass out, and I start feeling like my vision goes from like starting to like blur and get darker on the edges, yeah. And Suzette starts kind of freaking out and just like, oh, can we get something? Can we get help? Nurse gives her Powerade, and then they sit me down in a chair, which kind of sitting down helped me out. And then Suzette starts splashing Powerade in my mouth, basically. Him.
I was still shaking at this point.
I know, she said that's shaking. So,
but I all of a sudden I turned strong when I saw Martin like that, and I started being the most like uplifting person, because I was like, okay, he needs me now. I was like, Martin, it's okay. We're gonna get through this. Like,
and I think that's what got me through, like, not blacking out. Because the lady says, like, can you guys do something? Can you guys, like, can you go into we're at the hospital, so like, can you guys
take him to a room?
Take him, and the ladies basically says like, well, we gotta admit him and blah, blah. And I was like, no, I'm.
He's like, I'm gonna be okay.
I'm okay. With the Powerade, I'm starting to. I was this close from blacking out, or passing out,
he was sweating.
Or basically just not knowing what's gonna happen for the next, I don't know, 30 minutes, hour. I don't know. I've never blacked out. I've never passed out, so I don't know what happens. And me thinking, I was like, I can't leave Suzette here by herself. I can't have her worry about me as well as obviously already worrying about Roman. So like, my eyes are normally like this. They were like this. I could barely even see anything, and then out of nowhere it just starts little by little, and I'm feeling better. And I told Suzette, I'm good. I'm coming back. I just don't want to get up because I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to get too excited and then, pass out again or something like that. But that was scary. Just not knowing if I was going to either pass out or not. Because when you pass out, you don't know if you passed out. You just wake up and you're just kind of like, oh, what happened?
I was like, I'm going to have to go from room to room. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do because I thought you were going to probably get admitted too.
Yeah.
And so thank God the kids area, so they're not going to admit you there,
Yeah. So thank God that I was okay. And then they call us in, and then we're there with Roman, and after that it was pretty smooth sailing.
For you.
For me.
I was still a wreck the whole time. I was a wreck the whole time until his results came in. I kept prancing back and forth, and I would go to the restroom to pee like every so frequently, just because that was the only sense of normality that I would feel being in a bathroom for whatever reason. Like, it just felt like I wasn't at the hospital. So I would go to try and get a sense of just normalness. And in that bathroom, I would like fall to my knees and just pray to God and talk to God. Even though at this point, Roman was already, stable, conscious, smiling, gooing guy, which, by the way, he's so much stronger than I could ever be. Like, this little boy went through it, and he was still full of life after, like, not breathing, after the testing, after falling. I was a wreck.
And like we told you guys, like, I'm an optimistic person, and I see Roman just being his normal self and even more talkative now.
Yeah, he was like even more, I swear he was like more alert all of a sudden. At one point
Suzette well, I saw it too, but Suzette kind of pointed out, like, look, Martin, he was talking to someone in like the ceiling.
Yeah, he was looking up and he was just going off.
Like talking like,
baby talking and smiling. And I was just like, is he like speaking to an angel? Like, because they had like clouds and birds that almost looked like a heaven painted onto the roof of the hospital. I was like, Martin, like, who is he speaking to? Him and Martin, I mean, I took videos of them. At this point, they were just, Martin he's our rock. So he was holding him the entire time. Because I was still not stable. I was like still shaking. I was still very nervous as to what the results were going to be. We didn't know what the outcome was going to be. And I think that's one of the worst.
Obviously we didn't, and I didn't. But I'm always optimistic, and it's like he's doing okay.
Well, that's the one thing like that I would bring myself back to. I was like, you know what? Even if something is wrong with his brain or or with his bone structure. Like, I don't know, even if something is wrong.
But Suzette's kind of like freaked out and she's like super nervous, but she didn't want to talk about it. She did not want to even think about and tell me.
Because I didn't want to speak it into existence. And I think that's what was killing me. I was stuck between speak it because it's built in you, say it, and don't say it because you don't want to manifest it, you know? So I was stuck between those two, and I was just stuck. Like, it was just right here. Like, what if this? What if that? This is Mason's only brother that he's wanted for so long. And what if he can't get up and run and play with him again? And all these thoughts were going through my head, you know?
And obviously he got the test done, and then he got the CT scan, and I went with him, all the x-rays, and he was just bawling his eyes out during the x-rays because obviously they got to hold him down. They took x-rays of his entire body, every single little bone. I don't know, it had to be like 20 pictures.
And the entire time I couldn't be left alone in the room. Like,
so that was in the room.
Social worker, nurse, they would just come and like talk to me.
We came back, and like obviously he was tired. He was exhausted from all the tests, all the crying.
I have a picture of him.
And he was hooked up to like oxygen and the pulse tank or the heart rate monitor. And that's when it hit me, like he's starting to fall asleep, and it's just that fear again was like, no, like, can he go to sleep? Is it okay for him to go to sleep? The nurses said it's okay, but we're like,
he couldn't eat though.
We're like, no, like we don't want him to go to sleep.
As soon as we saw him like close his eyes, we took us back to that place. Up. And we did not want to see him close his eyes. And we were like trying to wake him up. We're like, Martin's like singing to him. Martin's like talking to him. But he just wanted to knock out. He wanted to go to sleep.
And I finally told Suzette, let's let him go to sleep. He's hooked up with the oxygen reader or whatever this is called, the heart rate monitor. Like, if we're going to allow him to go to sleep, if we're going to be okay with him going to sleep again in front of us, seeing his eyes close.
It's better if he does it
and get rid of that, like, that fear. It's the best way is here. Like, if he's hooked up, if he's not breathing, then the monitor will tell us exactly.
When we had our eyes glued to that monitor too, but
it was just it was still fear. Like, to me, like, that fear wasn't gone, and it came back when he was trying to go to sleep.
I'm recording you because the most incredible man and father that we could have been blessed with, Martin. You know that? Yeah, you know that? I can't stand you. Say something nice back.
Yeah, I've already told you, I'm so proud of you. I'm proud of you. Even though you were going through the worst moment of your life, you still did what you had to do. You got him here. That's it. Yeah, he's safe. Yeah, he is.
God has us wrapped with his arms around us. I believe that. A strong boy. Yeah, I love you guys.
So we're waiting for a very long time, or it felt a lot longer even than what it was. Finally, you know, every time a nurse would come in to check on him, I was like, what are the results? And it was, you know, obviously the doctor's the one who comes in and tells you. Finally, the doctor walks in and my heart drops, and she's like, well, everything came out completely clear. Everything came out normal. No broken bones. His brain is normal. He's
100%
completely healthy. And that is when I felt relief. I was like, oh my gosh. And then she's like, I just want you guys to feed him, and then 30 minutes later we'll see how he reacts to that, and we'll, you know, send you guys home from there. So we did that. They ended up sending us home, and yeah, once we came home, we couldn't believe that that's that we went through that, and they couldn't justify what happened. Like the doctor said, like he's very lucky. Like I can't tell you guys what happened, but he's very lucky. It could have been a seizure. It could have been SIDS, but she just said he's lucky. He's 100% healthy. And the thing is, SIDS peaks between 2 to 4 months, and it's said to happen more than likely with little boys and little girls. I don't know the reason for that, but little boys are at higher risk of SIDS than little girls are. And the chaplain, she said, you know, he's a miracle. She's like, you know, obviously they're gonna call it luck. She's like, but I believe he's a little miracle. And she was so happy. The chaplain was so happy when she came back into the room. She's like, what are the results? I was like, he's completely cured. She's like, yes. Like we were just all very anxious, you know. But we're very blessed. We're very blessed to have our baby here with us. We would have never thought that we would experience or go through something like this. You hear about it, you see it in movies. Yeah.
And you never.
But it's like no other thing when you experience it.
You always think like, like that can't happen to us, or that won't happen to us.
Or you just don't even put thought into it, you know, like you
really don't.
You try and put yourself in other shoes as much as you can. But when people say you don't know that pain until you go through it yourself, or that panic or just that experience, you really don't know until you go through it yourself. It's like nothing you would ever go through, and no parent should have to see their child passing away. No parent should have to lose a child. No parent.
And obviously Suzette, she went through that experience. She felt she witnessed everything. I feel like, because the fact that he fell down onto tile, no broken bone, I don't know how he fell. No one knows where he fell on, or no head injury, no bump, no bruise, no nothing. He's like, nothing ever happened. I told Suzette, like,
they can't explain it.
I'm sure he passed away. He went up to God. God healed him, brought him back down to earth, back to us, and that's how he got healed. Something could have happened to him. He could have gotten hurt. That's why he passed away, stopped breathing. God healed him completely, brought him back to us. And I told Suzette, because Suzette was still scared. She's still worried. She's like, obviously when you see your baby go to sleep normal, you get those flashbacks of like that scared, like.
Yeah.
And I told Suzette, just leave everything up to God, and just
you can't have
that worry. Like, you can't have that worry if you really trust that God brought him back to life. God's gonna bring him back to life for a reason. He has a greater purpose in life, and there's no reason why God's gonna bring him back to life and then take him back right away. Like, we just have to
trust that.
Drop it right now. Trust 100%, because that's the only way we're gonna be sane.
And we still go through it. We try and we fight that thought. You know, we fight
something as simple as
panic
like
that we.
At night, he sleeps. We have to go to sleep. It's impossible for us to watch him every second of our lives while he's sleeping, while we're sleeping, and. Like I told Suzanne, we just have to sit here and trust that he's okay, and God's protecting him, and who greater to protect him than God? Yeah. Like, God, that's God's son, and
before he's ours.
Yeah. If he wanted him, he would have taken him Monday.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's kind of when he says that, it brings me peace, you know, but
that's the only thing that keeps us going.
It does, because otherwise we do tend to kind of lose it and freak out sometimes. Is he breathing? Is he okay? Like, you know, do you hear him? If we don't hear him cry, we kind of lose it. But Martin will, like, he'll continue to bring up the fact that if God would have taken him, wanted him with him, he would have already taken him. And it just brings me peace to know, okay, you know what? It's not his time. It was not his time. It's unexplainable. You would never think that you would go through this. We never thought that we would ever go through this. The doctors can't explain it. They just said that because he saw his primary doctor just 2 days ago, and he said, I can't explain it. He goes, it was either a seizure from the shock or SIDS. He goes, but he's here. He's 100% healthy.
And he said if you're looking at him, feeling him,
seeing those cheeks.
Yeah.
I love his doctor.
You can't even tell he even went through anything.
And he's laughing. The baby's laughing with him and smiling. He's like, you can't even tell he even went through anything. And he's like, so he's healthy and he's here, and you just gotta be happy about that. And I'm like, I know.
Yeah. I'm just so grateful that it turned out good for us and for
we came out through the other side, but
there's a lot of parents out there that, you know,
we dipped our toes into, you know,
it doesn't end well for
lost.
them, and I just feeling I feel like it was 2 seconds, 2 long seconds that I really felt that like pain of me losing a child and being one of those parents that would say for the rest of my life, like,
my child passed away.
Yeah. And it was the hardest
It hurts me to know
thing
people
ever.
have to go through that pain, because
It was the hardest thing ever, and I freaked out, and I was yelling. I don't know what I was saying. I was just saying no, 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 driving at the same time.
And there's parents who have to live with that every day of their lives. You know, like we were blessed, but this is the way I see it though. If you've had a child who's passed away, I really believe that child was just way too good, way too perfect for the world. Like, they just deserved to be with God in heaven, because they were just too good. And I know that doesn't make it easier, you know, for any parent who has lost a child, but
And if you haven't gone through that, and I know people have told me stories, and it's just like your heart goes to them. People ask me what happened, everything okay. I tell them I don't tell them every detail, but you know, we tell them exactly kind of what happened, and it's just like, oh, okay, well, you know,
I feel like they hear us.
Good thing he's okay and stuff, but
even you guys, you may hear us, but I don't really
know.
think you really get it unless you go through it.
Mm-hmm.
You really don't.
But the good thing is, like, me and Suzette talked about, and Suzette still struggles. It took me like a couple of days. Obviously, it still haunts me. I had to go to work right away because I took time off when he was born, so I don't have any time to like miss work and stuff. And I would catch myself just hearing like Suzette, and I would tell Suzette, "Do you remember telling me like, don't hate me?"
I don't remember. I remember like thinking to myself like,
and it just
I hate
little
myself.
little things would pop up.
My face, his face. It's flashbacks that just terrorize.
But what I tell Suzette is like, Suzette, talk to me, tell me,
and I don't
say everything.
I didn't, huh? I feel like
it took you a while. Like every day you wanted to talk about something else.
Like I still can't talk about certain things, as you guys could see. Like for some reason I can't talk about the catheter. I can't talk about that. You know, that was around the time that Martin fainted. There's still a lot that it's very hard for me to talk about, but I think I'm gonna have to keep talking about it, because it's the only way that I don't think I'll ever overcome it, but be able to live with it in the most smooth way possible.
The big thing is like
I was advised by my chaplain to probably go see a counselor. You know, not by the chaplain, the social worker. To probably go see a counselor, because she was trying to speak to me and she just couldn't get through me, and she's like, I'm gonna leave you with this list of counselor phone numbers, and I would really suggest you go see therapy, because going through something like this is something that just stays with you for the rest of your life if you allow it to.
Mm-hmm.
So I am going to be going to
and I can't imagine
therapy.
Like I told you that I can't imagine how you feel. I feel a certain way, but I was there, but I didn't experience.
You weren't holding it through your fingers, you know,
everything
watching it go through your fingers. And
that fear. But I told Suzette, I was like, Suzette feels guilty. Obviously, it was on her watch. But I told Suzette, like, don't feel guilty because you saved his life.
And that still sits with me. I'm not going to lie. That still sits with me. And I still have to get out of my head. Because
whatever happened, happened.
Like, you're just the worst mom ever. Like, you don't even
she was
deserve these kids. And I called Martin. I was like, I just feel like I'm the worst mom ever. Like, I don't deserve to be a mom. And at one thought, I was like, they would just be better off with somebody else. I really thought that. I was like, they would probably just be better off with somebody else because I'm just unfit. And I have to get out of my head because those thoughts, they creep up on me. And I'm just like, no, you're an amazing mom. You saved his life. If you would not have done CPR when you did it, he wouldn't be here. So I'm a work in progress. I have to get out of my mind. Otherwise, I'll get deep into a hole that I'm not trying to be in. I'm jumping back into my everyday routine because I'm not going to allow myself to fall into that trap that I could very easily fall into.
And I told Suzette, and I live by this, and I tell Suzette this all the time. It's not what happens to you, is how you react to it after. So things are always going to happen. Whether Mason's gonna fall, he's gonna get stitches. Whether it was my fault, I slammed his hand in the door. Whatever the case may be, things are gonna happen. Mason's gonna break an arm. Roman's gonna break an arm. Something's gonna happen, and it's not your fault. It's not his fault. It's something happens, and then all that matters is how you react to it. Which was Suzette reacted in a way where she saved his life. So it doesn't happen what happened. Doesn't matter what happened.
God brought that to me, like
you saved his life. And that's with anything, whether it's finances or, a mistake that you do in life.
You're not even filming us. You're like shifting and the phone's like looking up at the roof.
Like with anything, doesn't matter what happens to you. All that matters is how you react to it. And that's why I told you that you saved his life. Alright, so my phone is dying as well, so obviously this video is a lot longer than we anticipated being.
Yeah, but we want to say thank you to all of you for being here, for being with us always, no matter what, through the ups and the downs. For those of you who did get to see my story, whether on Instagram or Snapchat.
See, it's dying again. 10%.
Yeah, we gotta hurry. I just thank each of you endlessly for sending over that love to us as a family. Mason, for those of you wondering, was at school, so he's pretty naive to the whole thing, and I prefer it that way because I think he's already experienced quite a few things in life that he shouldn't have at his young age, and I think him experiencing this just would not have been good for him. Mm-hmm. So he doesn't really know to what extent. He knows brother was at the hospital, not feeling good. Mommy and Papi had a rough day. Again, thank you endlessly to everybody who reached out, everybody who had us in your prayers and your thoughts. They meant and they mean so much to us. We love you guys. I'm going to continue trying to write each of you back just because I really want to just thank each of you individually because you guys were there for us through that moment. I love you guys. Anything else you want to say?
No, I said everything I need to say.
Thank you guys for watching. I don't know. This is awkward. We don't even know how to end a video anymore.
I was going to blow a kiss.